And then, after that, we went over to the
Dumbo.
guy with the big ears.
Dumbo. Or you.
So funny.
So we went on over to Dumbo, which, by the way, Dumbo usually has the pager system where you get a pager, you go play in the play area, and then when you get buzzed and you go, back. It's actually a really great system when it's actually working.
I don't like it.
I like it. I think for little kids it's good. Get
I
a
don't.
little exercise in and like the boneyard at the Dino Land.
Are you done?
Right. So we went on Dumbo.
We did.
Because it's iconic, and our son probably will want to go on it that much longer.
And we, I think what JB was trying to say is that they don't have that system right now. So right now you just wait on the line because they don't want everyone... Are you trying to be annoying, or is it just happening?
He's growing. He's getting so big.
Shut up.
Right.
So we waited in the line. We really didn't wait that long, and it was great. He chose to ride with you, which was odd, but great. No, but I got to sit behind you guys, and it was just sweet.
It was
sweet.
very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you know what, guys, it's just an iconic thing you do with your small child or grandchild is go on Dumbo, right? It's just one of those
Well,
things.
and you know what? When Harrison was 3, he was all about going on any ride he could get on because he was following his cousins.
Yeah.
And now the last couple of years that he can kind of take information in for himself, he's kind of deciding, do I want to do Splash Mountain, do I not want to? So we're kind of in this last phase where he really loves Small World and loves Dumbo and isn't quite sure yet about the big thrill rides, which is okay with me because you know what? It's not going to last that much longer.
Yeah.
And JB tried to jam him on Space Mountain. We'll talk about that in a
Right, we'll talk about that a little bit. Anyway, so then after Dumbo, we decided, hey, we're hungry. The park is getting more and more crowded.
Ash is always hungry.
And we walked on over in front of the castle. I believe we walked in front of the castle. And we walked back toward Frontierland because one of our favorite quick service spots and pretty much everybody's favorite quick service spot, maybe besides Cosmic Rays, I think. We went over to Pico's Bills.
That's someone's favorite.
I think people love Cosmic Rays.
I don't think they love it.
Yeah.
I think they eat their...
Right. Probably.
I don't think anyone says I love Cosmic Rays.
Cosmic Rays, Starlight Cafe.
Okay, come on.
All right, so we went over, and one thing we noticed is that here's a pro tip if you're going to go at this time. You can order your food ahead of time with mobile order. I would highly suggest you do that because of what people were doing is they were crowding in front of the entrances, in front of Pico's Bills because Disney doesn't let you in until your food is ready within the window of time that you're supposed to pick it up.
Yeah, a lot of people that were standing kind of out beyond the door and even inside, I think were people that didn't realize they needed to mobile order or didn't mobile order until they walked up.
Right.
And they were standing there waiting for their window to come up. So we weren't sure when we walked up, and then one of the cast members was like, oh, it's already in your window. You can go right up to the cashier and just grab it. So, yeah, definitely do that ahead of time if you can.
Yes. Definitely. So then, luckily but be honest, I didn't know that super right away until we kind of figured out the system. I had ordered on our way to, on the walk on the way to there. And then I put in the window of time we were ready, and we had to maybe wait 5 minutes because we went into the Frontierland Pin Station. We did pin trading and looked in there for a little bit.
And we kind of goofed around just in the walkways. Cool. Yeah. And, Harrison's at a great age for that. So we had fun. I just really, what, it's funny. I love the pins, but I'm not going to I also get worried about, spending a bajillion dollars on them. I just really like looking at them because there's all sorts of great artwork and cool things on the pins. So anyway, I digress. So then we finally went into Pico's Bills
On focus.
Focusing.
You're the one throwing blankets at me.
Because you're staring down at a toy. We're having a conversation.
So
make eye contact.
I definitely don't want to look at you now. So basically,
come on.
Basically, we went into Pico's Bills, and it was so crazy crowded in there because of the distancing. Because they blocked off all the tables. It's always crowded in there. So we actually wound up eating outside over by Pirates of the Caribbean. That's how far we had to go. Because basically Pico's Bills sort of stretches over into technically what's Tortuga Tavern, even though it's not really. It's just there decoratively. So we went there, ate there, but then we just kind of realized, like we talked about in Fantasyland, it just seemed like there was a decent amount of people, on the Saturday at Magic Kingdom, right? Mm-hmm. So there you go. Then what happened?
I don't remember.
Then we decided we were going to leave. We were actually kind of debated, like the intention was to stay all day, but because we were staying at Bay Lake, we decided to leave. So we left.
No, that's not why we decided to leave. We came in later than the park opened, like JB said, because we had intended to stay all day. But we had kind of done, we felt like we had done a lot up until that point, and it was raining still. So we're like, okay, well, what are we going to do now? We have our reservation for dinner in 4 hours.
Yeah.
What are we going to do between now and then? Now, there's a lot to do at Magic Kingdom, but some of the stuff is closed down, and some of the stuff Harrison doesn't quite want to do yet. So we kind of found a little bit of a workaround. Right now, normally, if you left a park and you wanted to come back in, you could only get back in, I think, if they were under capacity.
Yeah.
But because we had a reservation at Be Our Guest, we were guaranteed admittance back into the park.
Okay.
Why are you saying okay like you are just finding that out
Following
now?
along with you.
So we confirmed that with a cast member, and they told us, yes, that's accurate. So we decided to kind of go back to our normal thing that we did.
Yeah.
And so we walked back.
No, we didn't walk back.
We took the monorail.
Yeah.
Right. So we took the monorail back, and I think it was a good decision. We kind of pivoted and decided to do that. We just chilled at the Contempt or at Bay Lake, whatever. And it was nice to kind of have that break and be out of the rain for a little bit.
Right.
So,
It wasn't super bad rating. It was just kind of a misty, cloudy day. It would kind of spit rain for a little bit and then stop. And yeah, I mean, the other thing is too, we didn't realize that. I know we mentioned this in the previous podcast about how we didn't like the rhythm of being at the park all day. And I think it's funny, it really did help us. I think it's just the rhythm that we're used to over there. But we weren't even in the room that long. I think it was maybe an hour and a half or so.
A couple hours.
Maybe two.
Because we had to be back in the park and be at Be Our Guest before 4.
Right.
So, right. But, I mean, it made a big difference to have that couple hours to relax. Mm-hmm. Another thing that I wanted to mention real quick about Pico's Bills, too, is that we definitely ate at a very busy time there.
Which
is
did.
why
it was
so
lunchtime.
Difficult to find a table. We found the last table outside with an umbrella that was still getting wet, but opted to sit there anyways, and we saw family after family come out after us looking for a table. So if you're there, and this goes for any time, definitely try and eat a little bit before lunch or a little bit after, 2 o'clock or something.
Yeah.
That will help.
Yeah. So we, chilled, and then we went back, wanted to Be Our Guest. We already reviewed that last podcast. I think we're pretty set on our Be Our Guest experiences. We've done it 3 times, and I think we're okay with it. Basically, Disney has sort of said to repeat customers in the way that they do their prefix menu and the kind of the way they do things is that this is booked solid by people that come here usually once. So just come in and have it once. Obviously they would want you to come at different times of the day because I know they offer a breakfast option and stuff like that. But it's pretty much, we're okay with not going back,
Yes.
I think.
I don't think anyone I know either that likes to try and get a reservation there. It's never because like, oh my gosh, the food is so good. It's because of the atmosphere.
I think the first time you do it, you would be pleased, but it's an experience.
I don't think so.
Where you'd be done after that.
I don't think you'd be pleased with the food or the choices.
I had a really good filet. My filet was really good.
Yeah, but you're also paying to have an appetizer. You have to have it. You have to
right,
pick one
the full
and
course,
a dessert.
3
And
courses.
if you have children, the children's menu is
right,
not great. But
right.
We
digress. We already did that. So,
yes.
So that we left and we had a nice, really fun evening. The sun sort of came out a little bit towards the end of the day, which was very nice. And we headed on over to Tomorrowland, and we rode Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin, which Harrison decided about 10 minutes into the line he had to go pee.
Yep, so we left the line, went pee, got back in at the end of the line.
But it moved pretty quick.
It did, and you know what? That was one of my favorite moments of the trip, because the line kind of extended out into that part of... why can't I think of the name of that part of the park? It just Tomorrowland. It's like future something.
Futureland.
Totally lost it. Tomorrowland. And it was evening, the sun was going down, and it was just fun to be in the line with Harrison and be at Disney World. It was just fun.
Yeah.
And my point about talking about that part of Tomorrowland is like it's a little bit more like open over there, kind of like bigger spaces by that, and like Carousel of Progress. So we were kind of in that area, like the line extended out that way, but it was sort of one of those moments where we're like, we're here.
Right.
This is great.
Nighttime in the park was Walt's favorite. It's Ashley's favorite, bar none. And mine. Obviously, it's just a magical time to be there. So then we hoofed it on over to Adventureland, and I took a really cool nighttime picture with the iPhone 12 of the Tiki Room's pagoda. It just looked really good. It's a good pic. I gotta send that to you for our Insta. It's really good.
Sure.
And then, so we did that. We went on Jungle Cruise. Jungle Cruise was a little bit like, some rides are not really impacted that much by COVID and our current situation, and some are. There was a lot of plexiglass on the boats that they kind of sectioned it off, which I totally get. I understand. In line, we also had sort of a issue with some people. Okay, now this is going to sound bad, but for the vast majority of our time at Disney in these 2 days, people were very well behaved and respectful and socially distanced and had their masks on and everything. In the line for Jungle Cruise, we had this one 9-10-year-old child that just was had no boundaries whatsoever, was consistently not social distancing, and literally there were 2 generations of adults not saying anything to this child and just allowing him to bump into us, bump into my child, bump into us consistently, move the rope, hit me, burn my hand with the rope. The kid was sort of out of control,
And listen, we know and are very understanding of there's, of people coming, and sometimes there can be behavioral issues and stuff like that. But right now, because of the pandemic, to me, social distancing, that's a respect thing, and it's the park rules.
Yes.
So it was almost, you definitely got the vibe that
they didn't care.
They just were like, whatever, we don't want to deal with this.
Yes.
It was frustrating because we were standing on the marker we were supposed to, and then he would, we could basically feel him breathing on us.
Right.
His mask was going down. He was like a 12, maybe 12-ish? But it was frustrating because we were following the rules, and they just didn't seem to care. And I think someone that had been maybe more weary of COVID and stuff
well,
like
just
that.
other people. Just be weary of other people.
You know, like if it weren't us, it might have been someone
getting
really
upset. The parents
upset.
were like young, and they were like, by the way, just total PDA the whole time in the line.
I don't care how old you are. If you have a kid, you parent them.
Right, they were
don't
parenting.
Don't even get me on my soapbox.
Right, we're not going to do that. But
I'll tear you down.
But so that was like our one, honestly, major issue with other people in the parks. For the most part, people were happy to be there and very respectful of Disney's policies.
Yes.
These people, not so much. But it was one of those things, too, where I was like, I'm not a person that's afraid to tell someone anything. Mm-hmm. You know, like I will confront you if I have to. You know, but I was like, you know what, it's going to be 10 minutes. We're going to be on the ride. It'll be fine. Like, let's just, you know, let's just get through this. You know, it was one of those things where it's just, I just want to have a nice time at the Magic Kingdom at night. You know, but I have a feeling it just would have been, you know, an issue to say anything. But whatever. So teach their own. So we went on the Jungle Cruise. You know, plexiglass. The skipper felt a little bad for them. They had the mask on, then they had the face shield on. Plus, there's no like airflow.
There's no airflow in the boat.
So they're sweating from just the mask itself. Imagine what it'll be in August when they have to do that.
I would think the plexiglass would create, like, I think it'd be really uncomfortable. I would be like not going on that.
Right. So the guy did an admirable job. It was cool being on Jungle Cruise at night. It's always a good time to go. Just a different experience at night. So that was fun. And then after that, Ash and I decided, well, why don't we head on over to Space Mountain? And I was insistent and wrong. I'm just going to get it out there right now. I was wrong to try. I was like, oh, Harrison could totally do Space Mountain. And he was sort of excited to do it. But Ash went on the ride.
JB had also maybe misled him a tiny bit of what the ride would entail, which I know parents are going to write in and be like, I got my kid to go on this because I lied. And I totally get that. I just know that with our kid, how afraid he had been of other things, I was worried that this experience would make him not trust us ever about anything, because it was so intense. Like, I would be willing to lie to get him on Big Thunder or Splash, because most of that would be super enjoyable for him, or Dinosaur maybe,
right.
Which we may or may not have done already. But Space Mountain, I knew that it was just so intense for him, and I've seen him on other roller coasters where he could barely hold his head up. So I was like, it would have been different. I think the ride system used to be that you could, like, sit together, like, one in front of the other person, but, like, in the same, right? Didn't it used to be like that at one point? I thought you told me that in the line. Okay.
Yeah, the things are different.
I would have felt differently if, like, Harrison could have been, like, basically in my lap.
Which they used to be.
You know what
like
I mean?
That,
because he had to sit in his own little car. Like, seat
like
in front of me.
In the car,
I was insistent on telling him what the ride was really like and let him choose. JB was not super pleased with that. And so what ended up happening was I went on first, you stayed back with Harrison, and then we flipped. And as soon as we turned the corner out of the tunnel, I felt very justified in my decision. Yeah. And then you went on the ride and you got off the ride and you were like, you were right.
You were totally right. But my gosh, you guys, I'll be honest.
Great.
That ride is so amazing.
It's so
fun.
I
think after like a year or so, at that point, almost a year of just being in your house and not be able to really do much of anything, having a thrill ride like Space Mountain was just awesome. Like, it just made you feel alive. It was just like, this is so great. I get why it's still here. It's still just the best. I love it.
Yeah, and you know what? To be honest, it was almost more enjoyable for me for not to have him on the ride, which I know sounds bad, but I would have been worried about him and, like, trying to put my arms on his shoulders or something. Right, and so it was nice to sort of just, like, let loose and enjoy a roller coaster as an adult.
Yes,
it was awesome.
I get it. I totally understand. Because it was. I mean, geez, it's what a heck of a
Well, I felt like I
rush.
had like it was like adrenaline, it was happiness.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, what are we doing next?
Yeah, such a great ride. And then of course the exit is different now because Tron has pushed, the footprint of Tron is so big that now getting out of Space Mountain is a little different than it used to be. So I know you'll notice that next time you go.
Yeah.
And then of course we decided that would be it. We teased maybe going to Carousel of Progress at one point, but we didn't. we just were like, I guess we could just roll to the confectionery and get our Rice Krispie treat.
Well, wait, we forgot my one part.
What? Yeah, go ahead.
It happened somewhere in the middle of all that. We were walking near, through Liberty Square.
Right. That's right.
And right now, at least at the time of when we were there, they weren't doing any nighttime shows, fireworks, whatever, and everyone there was aware of that. But there were so many people just sitting on, rocks and ledges and areas where you can sit, looking up, kind of towards the castle, but some people were just looking around, and none of them were waiting for the show. No one was confused, but they were just there taking it in, and it was so cool to see so many people doing it.
Yeah.
And you're just like, these are my people. They're just sitting here in, Magic Kingdom and just breathing.
Yes, just taking it in.
Yeah,
right?
Not running from ride. Not that there's anything wrong with that. There were points where
That's
we were
part
doing
of the
that,
fun too,
right?
yes,
But it was really cool to see that.
Yeah.
So that was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, that was really cool. It's just especially after everything, right? It's nice to be there and be appreciative of that. And we went into the confectionery, and it was weird. They're not making anything really handmade at all in the confectionery right now. So everything was prepackaged. They didn't have our big, huge Rice Krispie treat, Mickey Mouse Rice Krispie treat that we get. Mm-hmm. It's like $15, and it's amazing. It's huge. So we were not able to get our snack, and then they had to get kind of sectioned off at different areas of the confectionery to get in line, and there was people waiting to get in there. We went in there, we were like, no, let's just go. So we, kind of did our usual. I kind of looked back at the castle, and, I always kind of try and take it in one more time because tomorrow's guaranteed to no one, I just look back at the castle and just kind of take it in, really one last glimpse, and be like, okay, it's time, And we went back to the room, went back to the Contemporary, and that's where we got some snacks and candy and stuff, and we from the Lake Buena Vista gift shop, and and then thus concluded our foray, ending part 4 of our magical weekend getaway Disney trip.
It was a quick trip, but it was super worth it.
Yes.
And it gave us a little pep in our step.
Definitely did.
Yeah.
So, definitely did, ladies and gentlemen.
And I decided to, put the D papers on hold.
Because of that.
Disney helped.
I'm glad that we have...
You didn't do anything.
Disney Vacation Club. So the D papers will always be on hold, hopefully. Because you're not getting half my points. Nope.
I won't need half. Get my own.
Nope. No. Love you, Ash. And, of course, love Disney. From the Midwest. See you later.